RuneScape Community has come up with some pretty good ideas in the past. Some are so good they even get introduced into the game. Today we're going to take a look at 10 suggestions players have made that should totally already exist. One last thing real quick before I get into this video is Golden Gnome submissions are open until September 6th, so please toss a vote my way. I feel like if everyone votes, I just maybe have a chance of getting nominated this year. I'll link to the voting page in the description below. Thank you so much to everyone that has already voted and those of you who are going to. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me, and let's get into the video. Number 10. Questlog updates. The questlog is in need of a decent overhaul, one of the most notable features being the ones I'm about to discuss. The first one was suggested by Hellivex and is extremely simple but insanely helpful. Basically, it would be that if you have all the requirements for a quest, it would turn that quest blue. As many pointed out in the comments, it would definitely motivate quite a few people to do more quests. You could spend hours just doing and unlocking more quests without having to grind requirements. Along with this, other users have suggested changes to the quest logs themselves, such as the inclusion of images of maps in-game and hints for if you get stuck during the quest. Number 9. Player statues. This seems to be a popular topic ever since Woox was the first person to beat the Inferno. Originally, it was suggested that he should get a statue in the center of Varrock. The Reddit post about this got to almost 5k upvotes, but never got any JMod response. If a statue of Woox was added, it also wouldn't be the first time a player was memorialized in the game. An example of this would be the rooftop agility courses. Pretty much everybody on the thread was in favor of the statue, so if they did end up pulling this, it'd almost certainly pass. The only reason I could see Jagex denying this feature though is that in the future they'd almost be obligated to make statues for players who are the first to complete something. Number 8. Random event scaling. Although I'm not sure how useful it would be definitely be a fun little feature. This was something suggested by the Yellow Pixel OSRS, and basically it would scale the rewards you get from random events based on your total level. The author gives the example that if the normal reward of the event is 2 uncut rubies, a player with a total level of 1900 should receive 16 uncut rubies. Same scaling would also apply to XP lamps and books. This would give random events a bit more of a purpose, as these days most people will just ignore them or dismiss them. Number 7. Free-to-play updates. This is a feature suggested by ForgeDN and would be amazing for when mobile releases. Basically, it's a bunch of updates to make free-to-play a bit more fun, as well as a bit easier to learn. The first thing would be a new tutorial NPC. This NPC would give players a bit more of a direction by giving them some goals to do, such as ways to make money or to complete Dragon Slayer. Secondly, a free-to-play achievement diary. This would give players a bit more incentive to explore the game world, although free-to-play is quite small. Third would be a Champions Guild expansion because, as you know, this is also pretty small. Lastly would be a free-to-play quest cape, which would make new players want to dive into the game's lore and finish all the quests. Now, this one would obviously look a lot different than the normal quest cape. Even if they only introduced one of these features, I feel like it would cause a huge chunk of new players to stay when mobile launches. Number 6. PvP Arena. This feature was suggested by Black Mirror on Reddit. With how much people have liked the most recent PvP tournaments, I bet they would love to have this in the game. Basically, it would introduce a new small city based around a coliseum on Zeah. This coliseum would include an MMR system, monthly inventory layouts, coliseum capes, a Hall of Fame, and a payout fee. Along with this, when fighting in the arena, you would be given equal gear, stats, and inventories. Every month this would switch to a new set to keep things interesting. I feel like this would be an insanely popular feature, especially for streamers. Plus, the only other thing even close to this is the sand casino known as the Duel Arena. Number 5. Zeah Canoes. Currently, Zeah is an absolute pain to get around. This feature suggested by Dennis1474 would change that. It would add 4 canoe stops around Zeah, which would mean a lot less running. Currently, the only other place canoes are used in-game is in the River Lum. Not to mention, I imagine it wouldn't be too hard to copy-paste the current canoe stops into Zeah. Since the feature is already there, I don't see why Jagex hasn't done this already. Number 4. Rerunnable Quest. This feature was suggested by Bontech on Reddit and already seems like such a fun idea. Basically, you would be able to rerun quests you've already done. This could be used in multiple ways. For example, players who didn't pay attention to any of the dialogue could see what the quest was about, Speedrunners could use it to try and get the fastest high score, and it could even be used at tournaments, for example, something like Games Done Quick. Number 3, the Elf City. Now I know a lot of old school players may hate the idea of the Elf City, but what if it was remodeled to fit in old school? Reddit user Darkblade273 did just that. They made an entire map displaying the city itself as well as the areas surrounding it. They even found a way to fit it in with the game's lore. I don't have time to cover everything they suggested as it's a massive post, but I highly suggest reading through it. To cover a few brief points, they created new crystal equipment, training areas inside and outside the city, new quests, spells, underground caverns, and so much more. If Jagex ever did add the Elf City into old school, I hope they follow this layout as it's absolutely amazing. Number 2, Grand Exchange Info Box. This is a feature that I remember using all the time when it first came out. It's an extremely useful feature for both old and new players. Nowadays on old school, I have to go check the wiki all the time just to see if I have the stats for certain items or not. Sometimes I'll even miss something, I'll buy the item, can't equip it, and then I have to sell it back. Modsween actually responded to a post asking about this about a month ago. Supposedly it's not a huge job, but they're focused on other content at the moment. But the good news is he said to expect it to maybe show up in a poll in the near future, meaning this piece of content might not be too far away. Number 1, change the Twitch image. This is not necessarily a feature, but it's probably the most requested thing I have ever seen out of the old school community. It seems like a post about this hits the top of the subreddit at least once every month or two. For those that don't really keep up with Twitch, the icon for the game on the website is currently a RuneScape 3 character. This character also plays a pretty small role in RS3 and isn't really that iconic. That and the fact that old school is at most times of the day more popular than RS3 has caused quite a bit of controversy around the image. A few months back, a JMod did say they were drafting up a new one, but chances are it never got finished or was denied. Anyway, hopefully one day Jagex can come up with an icon that both player bases are happy with. So that's it for today's video. Before you go, don't forget Golden Gnome submissions close September 6th, so if you could, feel free to vote for me. Other than that, thank you so much for 6K subscribers. This is an absolutely massive milestone, and by the time this comes out, we might already be a fifth of the way to 7K. I know this may sound a little cheesy as every YouTuber says it, but I really do mean it. I honestly never thought I'd get this far on YouTube, so this is absolutely insane to me. Anyway, that's all for the video, and I'll see you next time.